a very good afternoon and welcome to everybody to the end for some of us, and I know some people's Race Equality Week is still carrying on, but it's the second ever Race Equality Week. So I'm Javed Thomas, co-founder with Raj Tulsiani of the Collaboratory, and Raj Tulsiani, who many of you know, is the chair, co-founder of Race Equality Matters and also the CEO of Green Park. So thank you all for joining us today. It's fantastic to have so much support here today, but also throughout the week that we're all uniting to address this key issue. We're expecting over 200 organisations today, which includes people from Birmingham, Brighton and Belfast, Edinburgh, Essex and Exeter, Milton Keynes, Manchester and Merthyr. I'm saying Merthyr because my family's from there. And in Europe, Milan and Frankfurt. So welcome to you all. Before we start, a bit of housekeeping. We'll be recording this event for you to access later along with any slides you may want to use for your colleagues. Your sound will automatically be disabled, but if you have any questions or comments along the way, please do put them in the chat and we in the team will sort of hopefully cover them during the session for you. Please do tweet during and other social media. I think Insta and TikTok is the things that people are doing now to keep this buzz going. You'll see our handles on the right. And remember, it's all about action, not just words. So next slide, please. The next action-packed, and it'll be a super fast-paced 45 minutes. You hear some of the highlights of the week, hear what others are doing, and also from our special guest speakers from the Cllr Insurance Group, Network Rail, and London Borough of Croydon. You'll also hear about plans for the year ahead, and most importantly, get the dates for Race Equality Week 2023, and you'll hear from Edelman regarding My Name Is. So we'll aim to finish by 1:15. So next slide. Race Equality Week. Our events and solutions are free. So we must thank partners who, along with Green Park, do fund Race Equality Matters and keep things free for you. So a huge, big thank you to them, including lifetime visionary partners BT and our founding partners DMA, Data Marketing Association, Edelman, and HS2. Their support means you can access all of our resources for free. You will notice a couple of them are speaking today, and it's not because they fund us, it's because they do some great stuff. They are action, not words. So I want to make that very clear. Their support means you can access resources for free. We are a not-for-profit. We do need funds to keep going and to keep things for free. So please do, if you've got any budgets in your organizations or planning, please do think about it and do get in touch with us. So how did Race Equality Week go? We just want to share some key highlights from what we think has been a very exciting week. I did say it's going to be action-packed and fast. And now that video, we've got an intern just join our team to help us through this week. So imagine how great it would be if they didn't join us. Name's Emily Johnson. So she put that together for us. We're literally a terrible brief from us and then did that. So just to help create a bit of energy in the room. So a big thank you to Emily. Also, I want to thank behind the scenes, Nish, Claire, Donna, and obviously Raj for they're the cogs that keep this going. So it's unbelievable what they've been doing for this week. So Race Equality Matters is all about focusing on solutions that make a meaningful impact. So it's fantastic to hear that 96% of the thousands of attendees at the events this week would recommend the events to others to attend. And this is because we've got to say a big thank you to the action, not just words, guest speakers that we were lucky to have. So all them speakers, you made a huge difference. And we're also delighted and really important for us to know is that from all the events, over 70% of attendees told us they will be implementing some of what they learnt from the sessions in our organizations. So our events are not just talk shops, but focusing on problems and tackling them. You may want to join other solution-focused events that we have planned for the year ahead. It was also interesting to hear, though, that 50% believe their senior leaders and managers are committed to tackling race inequality. And only 33% believe their senior leaders and managers are comfortable talking about race, which is a key blocker to change. So there is still work to be done, but we believe the passion and comments we heard during our events and how to achieve change by the expert speakers, that things will change. Just do what they've been sharing and things will happen. And it's been terrific seeing what you as individuals and your organizations have been doing throughout the week, and united, we must keep this going. Before I introduce our first speaker, Loraine Martins, can we just do a quick poll, please? So it's saying, it looks like a third definitely knew their organization took part last year, a third not sure, and a third no, their organization didn't. So, but this year it's gone to 70% saying yes, their organization took part, which is great. So sort of doubling the numbers, which is fantastic. We're coming up to half of you have completed the form. The next one is, which activities did you do? So my name is 44%, which is fantastic. And then the next one after that was organizing internal events, 35%, 21%. So 1 in 5 of you did tea break, which is brilliant. 10% the big promise, of 5% safe space. And so 1 in 5 of you said your companies didn't participate, but I'm sure you'll be here next year. So we're up to 58%, keep going, those that are doing it. How was Race Equality Week for helping your organization tackle race inequality? So 35% said it made a positive impact, 2% significant impact, and 22% thinks it will impact to change. So 77, 57. So about 60% thinks it's going to make a real difference on that. And don't forget, a number of you hadn't taken part this year. In the room today, we have 59% to declare as ethnic minority or appropriate equivalent. And I appreciate some people are not comfortable with ethnic minority terminology, but we're using that for now, and we will keep looking at it. 40% in the room are allies, so welcome all. So 61% have completed it now. In your organization, we've got a mixture here of 14% are senior leaders, so it's great to have them in here. Be good to get that number up in the future. Race network leads 15%, race network members 28%, which is fantastic, and 20% D&I representation. How do you think your organization is tackling race inequality? 34% says focuses on action, not just words. So that's 1 in 3, which is fantastic. And 53% says talks and does a little bit of action. So if I can end the poll now and share the results, will that come through? Yep. Okay, so we're on to number, so you can see some of these results. We're on to number 8. Do you feel your senior leaders and manager committed to tackling race inequality? And 66% said yes. Now, about a year ago, Raj may recall, I think is down to about 15, 20%. So that is moving. Do you feel your senior leaders are comfortable to talk about race? 33% and 11% comfortable and very comfortable. So that is an improvement. It was typically in the 20%. So there is this change there, and it's all happening. So, and maybe that's why you and your organizations are here today, because you are really taking action. So thank you for that. So on to our first speaker, please. Loraine Martins, if you can unmute yourself, OBE from Network Rail. Loraine is the Director of Diversity and Inclusion at Network Rail, which maintains and develops Britain's rail infrastructure. She was awarded an MBE and an OBE for work on diversity and inclusion. So it's fantastic to have her speak here today. And her brief is, she's got 3 minutes, and everyone can start their watches, to sum up Race Equality Week and their future plans at Network Rail.
Brilliant. So the test for me, and thank you for the welcome, is I wanted to share my screen. So tell me if I'm having success, people. Can you see this?
It's coming through, yeah.
It's coming through.
Yeah, well done. Brilliant. Yeah.
Brilliant. So 3 minutes. What we did. So we really did adopt the My Name Is hashtag, which has been brilliant. We've had a number of films from different colleagues within Network Rail that have shared it both in Network Rail, but also on LinkedIn. So that's been a really positive development for us, because the raft of names that can be mispronounced is extensive, as you know. So that's been a really good source of conversation, good source of education. We held a race, religion, faith and belief event, which was looking at the intersectionality of those aspects of our identities. And again, that was, I guess, leading into action, not words. You know, we participated on the Engaging Senior Leaders event yesterday, which I thought was really, really very good. Some really great conversations. Again, in terms of the action, not words hashtag, HS2 is collaborating with us in hosting Stand Up for Race Equality initiative that we have developed, which helps people to understand the links between safety and inclusion. And they're going to be publishing it around all of their supply chain as well as their colleagues. And the reason I wanted to share my screen is because hopefully you can see this notice board in our stations. So a number of our stations were promoting that it was Race Equality Week, and it's an example of one from Monday. So up and down the country, this was us again demonstrating our commitment, and this was off station managers' own back. So I'm incredibly proud of them for their activities there. So that's what we did. In terms of our future plans, for those of you that were familiar with Network Grow, we have a Race Matters program that we're running. So the things that we're going to continue to do is career development, which is specific to Black, Asian, and minority ethnic colleagues, looking at the intersectionality, those of building up our capacity of that. We've just published last week, our ethnicity pay gap, again, that looks at intersectionality, which will be an increasing feature of our work. We're building our talent and succession plans to make sure that there's better representation of Black, Asian, and minority ethnic colleagues. And we will be looking at the Stand Up for Race Equality resource to see what we can do with that around it being more sustainable and being used in inductions and. So I hope that's within my 3 minutes, Javed.
I was just echoing what people had said in the thing about this station thing. Absolutely awesome, amazing. And I think imagine how many thousands or millions of people were going through the stations would see that and makes them think. And it's really simple. And I think, how can we, all our organizations, that was really simple. I'm going to make this up. It takes them 5 minutes to type it. It's up on there. You don't have to go through 400 years of strategy to work something out. So think about how can our organizations make a big difference. So thank you for sharing. That brilliant. So there's a challenge to everyone else. One thing we've been asked, and actually we throw this out there for people to think down the line, is people say, can we light up our building? What color do we use for race? Now, we don't know the answer to that, but any thoughts and ideas down the line, and we're hearing a whole range of colors. So yeah, if someone can come up with a good idea, because we know purple people use for disability, green for mental health. So there's something to consider. Okay, so on to our second speaker, Ajay Mistry, Head of Digital Sales and Marketing at the Cllr Insurance Group. If you can unmute yourself, Ajay, like I didn't. Cllr Insurance Group is a leading independent insurance broker. Ajay is also the co-founder of ICANN, which is the Insurance Culture Awareness Network, been going for a number of years now, an industry-wide network that was set up to support multicultural inclusion and progression across that whole sector. So a warm welcome to Ajay, and you have the brief of 3 minutes to sum up your Race Equality Week and future plans.
Thank you very much. Hi everyone, nice to meet everyone. In terms of what we're doing then at ICANN in particular, so ICANN is a network that sits over the industry, so really representing insurance and ethnic minorities and international colleagues in the industry. This week specifically, in terms of what we did for Race Inclusion Week, we launched a big sort of campaign this week about it's crazy. As an industry, we're much further behind, I would say, some of you guys and where you're at. So really pushing the business case for diversity, why companies need to be more involved. For us, a lot of us, it's very obvious the things that are, the benefits, but, we really have to keep pushing the basic messages to help the diversity leads and the networks really promote their messages. This week, we also did a big push. Obviously, as everyone knows, it was Lunar New Year recently. So we actually produced a blog, 8 ways on how to celebrate Lunar New Year. And each day we've been launching, different ways of celebrating. And we're now looking at doing things a bit differently because, trying to make it a bit more practical and a bit more interesting. So we've done podcasts related to this. We've done, the blogs. We've actually ended up doing quite a few video pieces from this, so that's been really interesting. In terms of our pipeline, we've just launched a major podcast, or we're just about to come out actually in the next week or two, on the gender and ethnicity pay gaps that have just been launched. In insurance, we're not that far ahead, but some companies, Zurich, Aviva, and some have really launched it, and some of the messages are interesting. It's not always what you think it's going to be. So what we're trying to do now is really take the people who are leading in the industry to now help the whole industry. So we've got a major podcast coming out with the heads of those organizations who did who delivered it, really. So that'll come out very soon. We've also just started a new partnership with an organisation to start launching more DEI reporting within the industry. So we're launching a new survey employees across brokers and insurers across the market on how they approach DEI, and then working out from then how we then implement that into their organizations. So working with Lloyd's and a few other corporations. So that should be a lot of change. And sort of alongside all these initiatives, we're sort of working on other projects to benefit our membership. So we have multiple partnerships in place now, thought leaderships and podcasts coming out. So the Race Equality Week is great as a focused week, but also, as everyone knows, it's Race Equality Year. You know, we need to, as in it's ongoing really, and we've really got to be constantly pushing and promoting the message to get things moving. So that is me in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. So there you go.
Brilliant. So we'll pause for 20 seconds to breathe. No, thank you very much, AJ. I think a couple of things you said is keep it interesting, keep it engaging. I think that's before it becomes numb to, you know, people say, you know, I think keeping that thing, please do share if it's acceptable, your podcasts. We'd love to amplify that, as you said. And interestingly, in Wales, as a government, they got something, I think it's called Race 365. Echoing what you just said, AJ, it's 365 days a year, so not a pop-up, you know, Black History Month, Race Equality Week, Diwali, etc. You know, it has to be ongoing. So thank you for sharing, and we love the work of ICANN. So it's an honor to have you here today. So thank you. Our final speaker, Councillor Hamidah Ali, if you can unmute yourself, please. A very warm welcome to you. Hamida was elected as leader in October 2020 from London Borough of Croydon with a mandate to rebuild the council after significant financial challenges under the previous leadership. A tough gig, I'm sure. As part of the resetting of the organisation, Hamida was overseeing a full restructure of the council and begun to embed a more open, transparent and financially responsible culture and organisation. And open and transparency is something we've heard from ethnic minority colleagues as an ongoing thing, lack of it. So echoing the way you're going. So prior to this role, Hamida was previously an equity and diversity professional. So a warm welcome. And you don't have 3 minutes, you have 180 seconds. So please sum up your Race Equality Week and future plans.
Well, thanks so much, first of all, for inviting us to be part of Race Equality Matters closing event for Race Equality Week. We're really proud to be celebrating the week with you and really delighted to be a spotlight organisation. Race equality is particularly important to us as a local authority. I'm Croydon's first council leader from a minority ethnic background, and when I took over as leader, tackling structural inequality was one of 3 core objectives that my administration set for the council. We're an ethnically diverse London borough. We are a majority borough. Over 50% of our communities come from a Black, Asian or minority ethnic background. And while we broadly reflect our communities as a body of staff, 40% of our staff coming from a Black, Asian or minority ethnic background, like many organisations, that ethnic diversity isn't reflected at more senior levels. What have we done during the week? We've promoted the hashtag My Name Is campaign, awareness raising, which I wish had been introduced earlier in my life. On Tuesday, our Race Equality Network held an interactive mental health workshop focusing on the intersectionality between race and mental health. Yesterday, our Race Equality Network, and our chair is here, I can see her on screen, which is great, held a tea break with members of the corporate management team, so our most senior council officers, on equality and career progression and tackling barriers. And of course, today, I'm really proud to be here with all of you. In line with the hashtag Actions Not Just Words campaign, as an organisation like many others, we've had really visceral conversations during 2020 about the need to make real change to the lived experience of our ethnically diverse communities in Croydon. Last year, we agreed our equality strategy, which sets out how we can lead by example as a service provider, as a community leader and as an employer. And as part of that, last month, Cabinet committed to becoming an anti-racist organisation, and we adopted 2 pledges, which we've developed with community organisations in Croydon: a George Floyd Race Matters pledge focused on improving the lived experiences of people from African, Caribbean and African Latin communities. And we've also developed an equalities pledge for all other ethnicities and other equality characteristics. Each of those pledges sets out the steps that organisations in Croydon can take to drive both race equality and equality for other characteristics. And as a council, we'll work to lead by example and then engage with other public sector organisations, businesses, suppliers, community organisations in Croydon to sign up and adopt both of those pledges to see that kind of change across the borough. We're launching our Equalities Pledge on International Women's Day, and we've decided to launch the George Floyd Race Matters Pledge on the 25th of May, which of course marks the 2nd anniversary of George Floyd's murder. Internally, we have an Equality and Diversity and Inclusion Board that's co-chaired by the Chief Executive and drives the Council's work on equality, diversity and inclusion right across the organisation. And that's progressing a whole range of work on race equity, including taking forward our anti-racist work, addressing career progression. There's some work that our Children's Families and Education Directorate has been doing specifically on race equity, and that will be taken across the organisation. And of course, the ongoing debate on language. We're looking at the language that we're using of ethnicity, and we'll be consulting with staff on that shortly. Cabinet will be monitoring how the council delivers against all of those outcomes that we're seeking to change through a cabinet advisory board on equality. But I think both the national and the international response to the brutal killing of George Floyd and the exposure of persistent structural inequality that was laid bare through the pandemic really highlights the scale of the change that we still need to see, and that imperative that there is that we must turn the tide now and build back fairer. Thank you, Javed.
I've seen a couple of questions. Thank you so much. Sorry. I was on mute when I said thank you. People asking, will you be comfortable to share your pledges for others to see?
Yeah, they're online.
Okay.
If I can find the link, I'll pop it in the chat.
And you'll send it to us after, and then we'll include it in like a follow-up email for everyone. I think something you said, so pledges is one step, but then actually leading by example, that's the action. Loads do pledges, but what happens after? And transparency and accountability, is really, really important. So thank you for sharing. It's really important you've done that. So Race Equality Matters, as you know, is all about collaboration. If everyone could just go into the chat and just write what they planned, what they did this year, some good things that you thought was really good so others can learn from, and then maybe other thoughts that you might do next year. What we will do as normal, we will collate all this anonymously, and then we'll share it with all of you later on. So hopefully we'll have 100+ ideas here, which might give you some ideas for next year. And like Ajay was saying, there may be something new and fresh and interesting. And it's things like this where, maybe a year or so ago, people might have said, the idea of going phonetically with your name, etc. So, this is where we get some great ideas for us all. So thank you. What's fantastic is to see so many people have put their phonetic names in their Zoom thing here. Now, I've done it twice, but kept kicking me out of the system. So I best not type my name, but it's great to see some other people. So some Denise Boucher did a social graces workshop, tea break videos people used. Lots have used the My Name Is campaign. I think it's Nyoko Fothergill. Hopefully I'm saying your name right, Nyoko. Managers have made pledges by Shaza. It's important that they make them transparent and they feed back on them. Olushola Aloha has got now diverse interview panels. It'd be good to know how they're working. People using the My Name in a Zoom background, which is fantastic. So fantastic for that. So what we'll do is while people just finish off on that, I said we will capture it and send it anonymously, so you'll all see everyone's ideas. And it's great that My Name is so popular on there. And naturally linked to that, one of the highlights this week has been the My Name Is campaign, and it was made possible by the collaboration and support of Green Park and Edelman, and the Race Equality Matters community, because we know a number of you were helping sort of like test it to make sure we get it as right as possible. And we know it's an ongoing tool, but it's important that we kind of build it as a community. So I'm going to introduce you to Edelman PR and Satyan in a second, but if we could just quickly show a video, that'd be fantastic. Great, thank you. So I'd like to introduce Setyan Dales, who's got a brilliant background on his Zoom. So over to you, Setyan.
Thanks, Javed. Look, I'm not sure there's much. I think that short video, incredibly quickly and brilliantly created short video there. It captures what we've been trying to achieve this past week, and certainly build over the past couple of months with Javed and the team here. It's very rare to see, for me anyway, something that's been adopted so readily and has driven so much interest and stories of positivity. I think the councillor mentioned earlier on, we wish we had something like this many years ago, and I think that's been the sentiment everywhere. Certainly from an element perspective, the two ways we've been supporting Race Equality Week has been through the My Name Is tool. We've also been engaged with some of our pro bono activities, supporting 30 inequalities charities this week to help them develop their communication skills so they can take that message more broadly as well. So really proud for us to be a part of this moment. And as I say, I think where we are with the tool as it stands is, and for those that used it, there are up to about 500,000 names that we went into with this project that are already on that library. I'm hoping on the back of this that we've managed to increase the number of names that's going to be in there. The next iteration for us is really to think about how we can add another technical element to this, which is an artificial intelligence tool that allows people to enter their name and figure out exactly how that phonetic spelling should be and play it back to them. So that's going to be the next iteration. We've got a number of activations that we're hoping to do over the course of the coming weeks and months as well. That's going to continue to give that momentum behind this tool. I think it's just been a real door opener to a conversation that has been, challenging for many to have, but equally one that I think has had a huge amount of, there's a profound impact on people's ideas about themselves, about empowerment and about belonging. So from our side, really thrilled to be a part of this, really proud to be a part of this campaign, and looking forward to doing more over the coming months and ahead of Race Equality Week 2023.
Thanks ever so much, everybody, and thank you to Edelman and BT and Green Park for supporting us, and for the extremely hard work of my colleagues at Race Equality Matters, Javed, Donna, Cllr and others. So look, we are a not-for-profit. What we do as a principle, we've assumed and we've stuck to our principle that this should always be made free to people. But if you are from an organisation that wants to help or wants to support us, we'd be really delighted to hear from you. We're just going to finish up with a quick poll to see what everyone thought of the event, and then to launch Race Equality Week for next year. Do you think the phonetic spelling tool will help people get your name right? Of course, from one level, getting your name right is just good manners, isn't it? And for another, and to many of us, it's a kind of demonstrable step towards being an anti-racist organisation. And because it's free, it really shouldn't be too many barriers to doing that. So I will just wait till the percentage of participation has increased. There's another question here around how easy you may feel it is to get the organisation to adopt My Name Is. And of course, based on that, all of the learning we get from the networks within Race Equality Matters is what guides our next products and our how-to guides and the support mechanisms we put in to make change real, because everything we do here should be around collaborating with other people, but in addition, it should be around getting people to actually move things forward and not hiding behind statements or pledges or amplifying existing aspirations. We really are here for action, not words. A question around how likely phonetic name spelling may be used in other parts of your communication strategy. A question around barriers to adoption. And I will start going through around 50–55%, which we're almost there. So in terms of recommendation of the event, we're at 93%. 7% of you are unsure, which is fair enough, but I'm glad to say nobody was negative or would not recommend the event. 99% of people felt it was helpful to hear from the speakers. Thank you. For that one person who doesn't, I would welcome your feedback, of course, personally and offline, see how we could improve. Brilliant. 32% of people were not didn't even know what my name was before the event. So that's great. So hopefully for at least a third of the people here, you've now got something that you would never have otherwise. Almost half of us knew what the campaign and tool was. So I think that's really telling. 85% of people think yes, the phonetic spelling tool will help people get your name right. 32%, the majority of people felt that 33% felt it would be fairly easy to get an organisation to adopt My Name Is. That's brilliant. 15% said with difficulty. So again, if it's really difficult, let us know why, and we'll try and find out ways of empowering you to address that if it's possible. In comparison with other diversity and inclusion initiatives, you said that My Name Is would be effective, 43%, and 28% highly effective. So, of course, because we're Race Equality Matters and our principle is collaboration and not stopping you doing other things, just making those other things more effective, it's really important that you see this as something that can help empower what you're doing already, regardless of what level of the diversity maturity curve you're at. In terms of your organisational support, 21% said it was highly likely that you'd get behind it in terms of wider communications, and 35% said likely. So I think that's really high, that even after 3 or 4 days of the campaign, over 50% of people said their organisation would like to do it. Main barriers to the adoption and use of phonetic names in your organisation. Well, this is quite spread. So seen here is only something for ethnic minorities is the kind of 40%. Well, I'm sure there's many of our colleagues from Eastern Europe that would like their names spelled and pronounced properly. Perhaps even some famous tennis players who've recently done the country proud. Interestingly, the lowest thing there is people just won't be interested, which is 14%. And I think that's okay. If only 14% aren't interested, then I think that's a great win for us. 48% said you haven't introduced My Name Is. Of those who had, the majority of you, 24%, said it was favourable. Nobody, 0%, said it was unfavourable. So again, it feels a little bit like a no-brainer. And then finally, will your organisation will take part in Race Equality Week 2023? 59% said yes. 41% said unsure, so more work on our side to make that relevant to you. But really very positive results. Thank you ever so much. And I hope they go to inform some of the choices and investments that we make to solve problems for you in the future. Javed, would you like to launch next year's Race Equality Week?
Okay, well, it's a drum roll time, so flashing lights, music, dancers, etc. So drum roll for Race Equality next year. It is, can we have it on screen, please? 6th to the 12th of February. So those that have guessed it, it is, as normal, the first Monday every February. So you can plan your Race Equality Weeks for the next 100 years, but hopefully we solve the problem by then. You've got a whole year to do it now, planned, so there's no excuse about we didn't know about it. It's in your diary, and this year is all about action, not just words, so do get involved. Do you want to say thank you to the people, Raj, at the end?
Absolutely. So thank you for everyone. If you're here, I know that you care. Big shout out to Loraine, Ajay, Hamida, and Satien for sharing their experiences with us. Do sign up to our website. If you haven't registered already, please do. The stuff through the website is free, both in terms of events and data and outputs. It's really important that we not just grow our community, but invest in understanding what's changing. This is all about what's working. And finally, thank you for your time. We can't change any of the past, but we can change and help shape the future in the organizations in which we work in. So I know if you're here, you're more all about action, not just words. Thank you for your support. And I look forward to seeing what we can all do to make the UK workplace one of the most inclusive workplaces in the world. And we should expect no less. Thank you very much.